Okay, here we are. Welcome, everybody who is here. And if you're watching this on replay, welcome to you too. And I'm here with Kevin from Kevin's Loving Vibrations. Thank you, Kevin, for being here and welcome.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. Hello, everyone. Nice to finally meet Colleen. I know that we were in talks. We both did shows with Mel, and we haven't officially met until today. So it's very nice to be here and
Yes.
meet you.
And I want to thank you for being my Mel whisperer.
Yeah,
One who
Mel
always
Whisper.
tells me kind of what's going on with him. So that's really, really nice. Well, we don't have people in the chat yet, but I do have a whole bunch of things that we can talk about. So let's jump in. And well, first, wait, before we jump in, what is
Okay.
happening with your channel and what do you want people to know about?
Well, yeah, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please come on over. It's Kevin Loving Vibrations is the channel name. I do a lot of political readings, weekly political shows solo on Tuesday. Every Thursday, me and Mel Dorr rotate back and forth and do political. I'm kind of brainstorming some different ideas with my channel, so stay tuned to that. So probably doing more than just the political readings, but still in the works with that. Not ready to make any announcements, but
Well,
um,
and also though you have memberships, no? So
I do have memberships. Yep.
tell people about that too.
So on our memberships, I do that. You typically Wednesday nights. We kind of shift it off every week. It's very laid back and really friendly, supportive environment. Typically like to do like weekly at spirit message reads, feeling what the energy looks like, and 1 week we might do a group Reiki session, a collective group healing.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Nice.
the other week I might do some mini personal readings. I like to do monthly energy readings, so we kind of switch it up from week to week, but
Oh,
it's a
you
lot of
are
fun.
inspiring me. You are inspiring me because, YouTube comes on all the time with, you're not maximizing this. You could be doing that. And I'm like,
Mm,
what am I going to offer to people for memberships? I'm just racking my brain because I feel like it has to be very structured. Like, okay,
yeah.
every Tuesday you're going to do this. And I can't commit to that. I got too much going on, but I can commit to a couple times a month doing things. So, oh, thank you.
Yeah,
So,
I do a video once a week, and it's not always strictly on Wednesdays, although that's typically what's been best for me in my schedule lately. But when we first started, I was doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, sometimes Thursday, so just like whatever worked out.
mhm.
And yeah, I don't. It's a very laid back is how I do it. It's just some extra screen time and some community time. We got a small tight knit group in there, so it's always a lot of fun to catch up weekly.
Very nice. And do you also have Patreon?
I do not have Patreon, no.
Yeah, me neither. But I think I will do the member thing because you're giving me
Mm,
some great ideas. Sorry, I'm going to steal all your ideas.
go for it.
Okay.
Something new
What's up?
comes up. I said it's just something we do something different every week, or if we want to do mini personal, whatever everybody in the group wants to do. And yeah, it's just very relaxed, and we can try new things, or talk about developing intuition, or just whatever anybody wants. So I keep it really free and easygoing.
That's awesome. And that's just really awesome. And your channel's really growing too. So that's
Yeah,
awesome too. That's
yes,
amazing.
major blessings since starting my channel.
Yeah, that's very cool. Okay, so and just to let everybody know, I'm sure everybody who's here is already subscribed, but um, if you're not, please subscribe and please give this video a thumbs up when you're watching it. That really helps the channel. And if you're in the chat, you can put questions in the chat and we'll look at them and answer them because obviously there's not very many people in the chat yet. So hurry up, get your questions in now. And so for my channel, usually this show is on Friday evenings, but I'm
Mm,
again not a hard and fast rule with that. In fact, I'm doing it on an earlier time on one of them for March, and I'm pretty loose with that. But I also want to plug my monthly meditation that I do at the end of the month. I
mm.
think this month we're doing it on the last Saturday of the month instead of the last Friday because I'm actually doing a political, a PoliTarology show on the last Friday. But this month's meditation. I wish I could do fundraisers, but I just don't have enough subscribers. And what we're going to do for the meditation this month is focus on Turkey and Syria. So I'll
Mm,
be writing an original meditation to focus on help for those countries, and I hope everybody will join us. And aside from that, I have my angel pick a cards and my ET pick a cards and my astrology videos. The March astrology just went up. So, okay, so we've covered all the business. Now let's get
yeah.
into some readings. Okay,
Okay,
so
do it.
the first one is not uber political, but it
Mm,
might become political down the road. What will be the outcome of the Ohio train derailment? And
mm,
specifically, what will happen to, I don't have the name of the train line that's going to be sued, because that's what everybody's talking about is, oh, they have to pay for all the damages. So that's what we want to know. What's going to happen with that company? And again, sorry if anybody knows the name of that company, put it in the chat. But it's basically whatever that train line is that allowed a train to derail and spill chemicals, toxic chemicals all over the place. And now those poor people all have headaches and burning throats, and they have to
yeah.
drink bottled water. And apparently, it's also a very impoverished area. And so a lot of these people are on fixed incomes or food stamps, and
Mm,
going out and buying several cases of bottled water is just not an option for them. It's just like, are you
right.
kidding me? I can't do that. So,
Or if
and
they even have to lose their home and, pay at a hotel or something like that, like, where's the money for all that? I'm
yeah,
about, I live in Ohio myself. I'm about an hour and 45 minutes north of that area. Not
oh,
super familiar with the area, but yeah, it's just so sad what happened there. And I've read on it before too, and unfortunately, I think it's going to take a bit of time to really get that cleaned up, and
oh yeah.
for new regulations to come in, and but I feel like they're going to get some help to get that all cleaned up, but it's going to definitely take a while, and you know,
Well, and it's such a, I feel like it's such a nod to this, the Pluto alignment that we're coming into, because
mm,
I lived in Brooklyn for about 20 years, and and I lived right near a place called the Gowanus Canal, which in the 1800s was the major way that deliveries got made for everything from coal
mm,
to food supplies to raw materials for manufacturing. Everybody used that canal. And now it had become so toxic that, they were finding species of fish that they'd never known existed, because they were
mm.
just literally, that thing on The Simpsons where they have the three-eyed fish or the one-eyed fish, like that was a
All
reality.
communication,
Yeah, and I lived really close to it. I'm I'm pretty sure that it didn't affect my water supply, because my water supply
yeah,
came from somewhere way, 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 way up the Hudson River. But it was a part of the Superfund, uh, one of the Superfund projects, and one of the things that they finally did after like 50 years or however long is they fixed. There was a big turbine in the canal to. I don't think the purpose was really to clean the water. I think the purpose was to keep the water moving so
yeah,
that it was easier for these boats to go. And just having that movement in the water did sort of clean it, keep it freer, and um, allow the water not to become just stagnant, right?
yeah,
Well, they go to replace that turbine, and they're like, first of all, nobody's made a turbine this big ever. We don't, I mean, it was like 150 years old. And they're like, we're going to have to like retool a specific place to make the parts for this turbine. It's ridiculous. So that took a long time. They finally got it installed, and it did make a difference. It made a
yeah,
difference actually in the air quality around the canal,
mm,
which was really weird, because still nobody was like dipping a toe in the water in that canal. And kids used to swim in that canal. Like it was a water
no,
thing, a water feature of Brooklyn. So I'm afraid that the Ohio town, that's it's going to fall into that same thing where
I think so too.
Superfund site, it's going to need major cleanup, but what's going to happen to the people?
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen to the people? I'm going to throw some cards on that.
I mean, I do see like a lot of health challenges for some people in the area, or that people that chose to stay in the area. I
Yeah.
do feel like even a lot of people will be relocating from that area as well, just because it's not the safest, and with the health concerns for those people, and for all the animals in the area too. And I do feel, like you said, it does feel like there's water contamination that has me a little worried as well.
Yeah. Do you have any idea? Do they do any farming or agriculture around that area?
I'm not I'm not really sure. I'm not really
Yeah.
that familiar with the area. I don't think it's not like a lot of cities or anything like that. So I would imagine that there's a lot of agriculture. It's a little south of Youngstown, Ohio, which is where a lot of manufacturing jobs were, before they were taken overseas. But
Ooh. Yeah, I think this is not good. The first card that I get is the King of Swords. So
mm,
I don't think it's going to take terribly long for us to understand the truth of this situation. Unlike in the past, now that Pluto's coming into a change of signs, I think the truth, the awfulness, the corruption around it, the deception around it, I think will all be revealed. And we've already
mhm,
heard that the whatever environmental rules were in place were overturned by Donald Trump, and it allowed the
yeah,
trains to carry these chemicals without adhering strictly to a lot of guidelines. Now, if they're smart, they
mhm,
probably were adhering to most of them anyway, just to keep their workers safe, just to keep the guys running the train safe. And
mm,
but whatever. And then but then I get the 9 of Wands. So, I think the company is going to come back hard with an idea that no, we're not paying this. We're paying for our portion. They're going to find some loophole that just says we only have to pay for ABC, and then they're going to go and uh, pretend that everybody's claims don't fall under ABC. So that's the other thing, because
mm,
the company wants to hang on to money. We got nine. What is that? 9 of Pentacles there. So the company doesn't want to part with their bucks, but I think they're going to have to. It may take some time to get them over it. We get the 9 of Cups, so I think we will get a satisfaction um, at some point, because it's going to go to court, female judge, and she's going to say,
mm.
excuse me, you're totally at fault for this. You totally are going to have to, take care of this. That's what I'm seeing here.
Yeah. You know what? For me, picking it up, I do feel like there's a lot of cover-ups with it, especially with like the Ohio government, and our governor, not being very forthright, because we have it, the theme of the reading is the Seven of
Ah,
Cups, which is all the
yes.
cloudiness, the illusion, delusion. Don't focus here, and we haven't even seen. We're starting to see it more, but after it happened, even the mainstream media wasn't really picking it up. It's like, let's gloss over this. Let's not pay a lot of attention. It needs the attention brought to it. Um, yeah, and the Hermit too. So this is all about isolation, people going within to find enlightenment, so finding solutions. But also with this too, I'm just feeling like a lot of people being displaced from the area. We do have
Yeah.
funding coming in with this Page of Pentacles, but the overall theme is what I'm getting is it was an abuse of power. With those regulations going out of place, they were taking advantage. I think it's a lot worse um, than what it should have been. And I do see a lot of regulations and rules coming in place from the government overseeing this, to make sure that situations like this doesn't happen again. We have that rules, the regulations, government with the Hierophant. Yeah, a lot of people are really trapped. I do think that there's a lot of people that live live in the poverty means in the area, where they don't really have a whole lot of options to turn to. But there's action taken. I do see funding coming in. I think this company in the past was the 10 of Pentacles. So I see a lot of financial changes happening. It's really debilitating for families. We have the 10 of Cups next to the Hangman. So this is, delays, or, shifting their point of view, their livelihood, a lot of burdens and stress. And I do think as a result, there's a lot of people getting sick with this
Yeah.
9 of wands, people feeling
Yeah.
really tired, really overwhelmed, but it's going to take some time. But I do see the government stepping in, adding funding for the area to get it cleaned up, and making new rules and regulations. I think even too, um, in the shipping of these chemicals, having put money in to make them safer to carry them. So if there was a train derailment, it's not going to spill all those toxic chemicals all into the earth and in the waterways. Maybe some kind of infrastructure around the tanks or carriers holding it.
Yeah. Well, I think, it's like with gas, they would build these pipelines so that they didn't have to ship the gas on trucks or whatever over many, many hundreds or thousands of miles. So the pipeline would get it to the metropolis, and then it would be
Mm-hmm.
dispersed from there on trucks and stuff. So Paisley says that the Ohio Railway is Norfolk Southern. Does
Yeah,
that sound right?
that's right.
Okay. So they're going to have to pay. I threw another few cards just for the people, and without going through too slowly, the Eight of Cups. I mean, they're a lot of people
Mm,
are going to have to leave, and they
yeah.
just at this point, because this is such a shock, they're just in disbelief. So they haven't wrapped their heads around the idea that they cannot go back to those houses. It's bad. It's not going to.
Well, and
It's
the
not.
government not being very forthright too. I mean, our governor Mike DeWine here was saying that they've had people come in and check. If it was him, he would feel safe going back in there. Meanwhile, all these people are having like the burning lungs and cough from this. So it's very much that 7 of Cups that I'm getting. Illusion, delusion. The energy is very cloudy. Don't look over here. Don't investigate into this. It's going to be looked into. And Cleo the Seer, I'll just say, wants to know timelines, which are really kind of hard to um, pinpoint. But I'm feeling like it's going to take multiple years to get that
Yeah.
place cleaned up.
Yeah, it is. And when I was listening to that broadcast with Governor DeWine talking, I
Mm,
kept flashing on Christy Todd Whitman, who was a former governor here in New Jersey. And
okay.
she, at the time of 9/11, I believe she was the head of the EPA, or she had been the head of the EPA. And she came out a few years later very strongly, like 10 years later or something, very strongly saying that toxic environment at 9/11, we were telling people, we were told to tell people, it's okay, just wear a
Mm,
mask, you'll be all right. And she says, I'm here to tell you, I only went there a few times and I am still suffering health issues. Imagine for those workers, those first
yeah.
responders, just how bad this is, and the legislation that has been passed to help them with health issues, plus all of the insurance things and everything, proves that their health issues were extreme. So that popped
Exactly.
into my head listening to Governor DeWine, and I'm thinking, Governor, that is not going to age well, because you're going to be found.
Mm,
Well, he's kind of older, so maybe he doesn't think he's going to be around when the truth really comes to light. But Pluto going into Aquarius, babe, in March, that truth is coming to light.
yeah.
And those people are going to have a big wampin lawsuit to go after it. But like you said, it'll be a class action. So,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
where are the FEMA trailers? Where is FEMA moving these people to other residences and setting them
Mm,
up to live? That's what's horrendous about this. It's
yeah.
it's just it's terrible. So what my card said, we had the Eight of Cups. So people gonna have to leave. Three of
Mm,
Swords. I mean, there's going to be a few people over the course of the next, probably right before Pluto. Pluto goes into Aquarius on March 23rd. I'm gonna make a prediction and say that before March 23rd, there will be multiple lives lost as a result of this chemical inducement. Um, the Ten of Cups comes up for them, but that's really their dreams lost. That's where they're just
mm,
going, okay, I guess we have to be grateful we're still alive, but what are our lives? What do we
mm,
have in our lives? This is just not really great. So those who can work and move and have some means of moving away will, but they can't sell those houses. They can't recoup any
Right.
equity from those houses. They probably can't even go back and get all of their things because all of their things have been, dusted with all of this chemical fallout. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that they had to let it all go up in a big ball and light it on fire to get rid of it, but there's fallout from that, and
Mm.
that again, a whole other bunch of toxicity. And again, in this reading with the 5 cards, again, I get the Queen of Swords. There's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
that there's going to be adjudication on this. A big, powerful female will be saying, "No, you're paying for." So that rail line is probably going out of business because they're going to have to just pay for the next 20 years.
It's
They're
going
going
to
to,
bankrupt them.
yeah, it will definitely. It'll put them out of business, definitely.
Hmm.
There was also a derailment in Michigan, which I don't know
Yeah.
really anything about. Did that also? Do you know anything about that one? Or
I had heard about it. I'm not super familiar with what happened, but just kind of tapping into it. Because I think I read on this earlier this week or the week before. I wasn't picking up, and I wasn't picking up anything like here in Ohio. Like that's like really big.
yeah,
I think that one in Michigan will get cleaned up pretty quickly. I'm not sure of what kind of chemicals were spilled from that, or what they're saying the reasoning is from it. I haven't really heard a whole lot.
yeah. What I am getting on that is it's very similar to the situation where you had the Trump documents classified, you had the Biden classified documents.
Mm,
Now you got the so Pence and Biden are becoming almost bookends for the situation on Trump. So they're giving us the ability to contrast and compare. How do you
yeah.
handle the situation the right way and how do you handle it the wrong way? And I think for the Michigan, Ohio thing, it's a similar thing. You're going to get the ability to contrast and compare the two situations,
Mm,
where Ohio is really going to be screwed. Michigan may be in a much better situation, but
yeah.
I don't know that much about it. But that's just what I'm getting. So
Hmm.
okay, good. So did you um did you see on the news, Nicole Wallace was talking about a New York Times article about Trump's obstruction of justice through the SDNY, through the Southern District of New York, where Trump had, was it now? I don't know where Whitaker was. Whitaker was in the DOJ, I believe.
Hmm.
But he, for some reason, had, I think, some kind of influence with whoever was investigating Trump, basically. And Trump was saying, "Can you put this other guy in for me?" And the other guy was an attorney who had recused himself from the situation. So this
Mm,
big New York Times article was really sweeping. It went through how um, uh, Whitaker, Trump, the DOJ, the SDNY, all these, it was just like a panoramic view of all the ways that Trump had obstructed justice.
yeah.
They basically made the whole case. So what my question is that will those be brought up as charges against Trump, or is there already so much against Trump that they don't need to do that?
Yeah. I've often felt like obstruction of justice being a major charge against Trump. But let's see
Okay,
if it has
so let's
to do
do
with
that.
this. I mean, there's been so many situations where he's obstructed justice too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, oh, oh my goodness.
I definitely see something there.
Yeah.
And that's just for him, for his accomplices.
Yeah. All right. So mine are out. So I'll just talk. So
All right.
I got the Two of Wands here. So this Two of Wands, what I'm thinking is they are all of a sudden going, oh, well, this is a new kettle of fish. This
Yeah.
is. And I think, just as a side note, I think that starting probably next school year in law schools, try these kinds of very broad, huge cases, I think this is going to be a whole other area of law that people are going to be taught in law schools. How do you break down? I was thinking about this because how do you break down these humongous cases? And because there's going to be tons of them coming up. There
Yep.
just is all across the United States. Anyway, so this guy, I think, is just looking at the possibilities and saying, wow, so maybe I can use kind of a gunshot approach. I can just do 5 million charges. Maybe I don't have to hone in very preciously on just 5 charges and like Merrick Garland, like making sure I dot all the I's and cross the T's. Maybe I can do a little less intensive pinpoint citing on these and still get the job done.
Yeah.
I think it's a gift for prosecutors. I think it's just a gift. It's just like, oh, thank you. Boy, that's going to help me a lot. And then we got 8 of Wands. So yeah, they're going to take it all and they're going to say, oh yeah, baby Trump, you're going to get this charge and this charge and this charge and this charge. And they're going to share it with the 6 of Pentacles. They're going to share it with every venue that wants it. The SDNY, down in Georgia, in Washington, D.C. They're not going to hold back. They're going to be like, oh, you want all that info on Trump? Well, first you read the New York Times article, and then we'll give you all the backup. I think that's how they're going to be. Now, the final outcome, though, is the Prince of Swords. And I'm not quite sure how that is influencing things, but it is someone bringing out the truth. And I'm going to say it's probably a lesser known legal brilliant mind that ultimately brings this to a head and gets the charges aimed at Trump. And I picked out an extra card and I got the Princess of Pentacles because I think what this is going to show also is involvement from lovely Ivanka, his daughter. I think that somehow this influencing thing, I think she had a lot to do with it because as she was the Trump whisperer, she's a Scorpio. She's a very persuasive, she can pretend, I think, to be extremely intelligent and she can massage language and she has that very well modulated voice that she uses to just kind of hypnotize people. So, I think she's going to be in on this too. And it's really going to be backfiring on her.
Okay.
So that's what I got.
I definitely see them incorporating this into a case. I personally never felt like Trump is behind bars, but I also, anytime I tune into Trump, I always question his health because that always comes through so strongly for me. How much longer is he going to actually be around to really reap a lot of this justice for him? I get that it's going to take some time. We have a Temperance card, which is all about things coming to balance. They're going through so much right now and they have so much evidence. There's so many cases coming up against him. I think this is going to be one of many where Trump has to defend himself from all of these wands. And here again, this is in the traditional Rider Waite, he's got like a bandage all over his head. It's really wearing on him. Being on the defensive. I do get that truth is coming out. For me, it feels more like bad judgment crossing the reading because of his abuse of power. And those that were with him, like Bill Barr, Whitaker, like you said, influencing the situation. It has to do with multiple people, people that he's made pacts with the lovers. And they are going to work really hard on getting all of the evidence and the information. They already have, I think, because that was in our past. It's going to cause a lot of stress and burdens for them. I get a woman coming in. This, for me, it's a Queen of Rods. I'm not entirely sure who this is. Maybe it's a judge overseeing it, or gathering up all the information. But yeah, somebody's grieving here. I feel like it knocks 3 people down. Maybe 2 people escape is how I'm kind of reading it, but like 3 people, and I also feel like maybe it's Bill Barr was coming through strongly, like a lot of negative press and judgment on Bill Barr, and maybe even some investigation into him because he made a pact with the devil. There is more information coming out, and it feels like it's a big network of people that he's closely connected to with this 10 of Pentacles. So I'm not personally feeling like Trump is probably going to be held accountable, but those around him. I definitely see them taking their time to investigate it, though, and then I think they have for a while. Like I said, though, I don't know how much longer Trump's going to be on our planet for, is what I'm just kind of picking up with that.
Yeah, and I think that even before he meets his maker, I think that he is already trapped in some way, either from his health or, they've probably taken away his passport. I think in some ways he's almost under a house arrest because we're not seeing him doing big rallies. We're not seeing him going much of anywhere except for right around Florida. And so I think that somehow he is already, maybe he feels he's under such heavy surveillance that he can't travel, but I think it's more than that. I think they've said, no, you can't travel.
Yeah,
and I think as the more his health declines, the less he resists that. And so, he's already kind of getting his due. But you mentioned Barr, and Barr, I think, is really interesting because they kept playing that clip of Barr in his confirmation hearings, claiming that if it was shown that the president should try to influence anything, he said, well, first you should investigate the president for, not doing his constitutional duty. And I thought, good answer, deflect, put him in another direction. But the real thing is, well, no, that's a crime. So they would have to investigate that, and I think they will. And that's kind of my next question. Will others go down for colluding with Trump on other issues? So Barr was the first one, I think, with the Mueller report, but we kind of covered that. But let's not forget that the bigger lens is that Russia is behind the whole train. Russia started all this by getting him elected. Well, actually, they started all this by obtaining compromise on, probably 150 different United States politicians. And then they got one of them in the White House. So let's see if in the midst of all of this stuff, if the Russian meddling, if we're going to get some more information about that, and if anybody's going to be doing anything about it.
Yeah. We'll throw some cards on it, but just intuitively, I feel like this fall, a lot of those dark money channels and connections between Russia and politicians is going to be exposed. That's what I've picked up. If end of summer, fall time is what I'm feeling.
Now that's so interesting. That's so interesting because October astrologically is a very big time. Pluto will be in Aquarius from the last week of March up until about mid-June. Then it retrogrades. It doesn't quite, it just barely touches back into Capricorn, but it does touch. And then it moves forward again, I believe in October. So I could be wrong.
Okay. So maybe that's the timing with that. I feel like it's huge, and it feels like it's much bigger than just Trump.
Yes.
It's like the Republican Party. It's going to be massive.
It's going to be massive. Remember the 4th of July in 2018, like 6 senators went to Moscow for the 4th of July. What? Come on.
Yeah.
What was that other one? Rand Paul, who goes to Russia with a letter from Trump to Putin. Hello, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of stuff. And those are just the ones that were in the news. So
There's
there's
a lot more.
a ton of more. And don't be
I
surprised.
even feel a couple Democrats too.
I was just going to say that. Oh, you read my mind, you silly psychic.
We must be on the same wavelength.
Yes, yes. Absolutely, it's Democrats too, which breaks my
Couple,
heart.
yeah.
But you know what? Oh well, if you don't play by the rules, then you should get dumped on too.
I agree.
Right. So let's see. Russia, Russia, Russia. Remember when every card reading started with that? Russia, Russia, Russia.
It's coming back. And I even feel the Mueller report coming back.
Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. They must have said on that Nicole Wallace show yesterday, they must have mentioned Mueller a dozen times. And
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, wow, that's very interesting that right now they're mentioning Mueller and showing these clips of Barr. And it's like, oh, okay, everything old is new again. All right.
So we were talking about what are we asking specifically with this?
We're asking about if some people will be actually indicted or if some action will be taken pertaining to Russia meddling as it comes out in the news again.
Okay. Ooh. Always. Oh yeah. There are people being indicted. Absolutely. Wow. I think it's more about the money, is what I'm picking up. Through taking the money and being a Russian asset and supposedly working for our government.
Yeah.
And my Russia card came out too. My first card out was the Seven of Swords, so that's all the sneaky dealings in the dark alleyways. And then we have the Eight of Swords next to it, which can be jail time, but it's being very trapped. They're not getting away from it. The channels between overseas with the Six of Wands.
Yeah.
I see it being death in the sense of political careers with the Hermit, people going into hiding, people getting out of the spotlight for the money that they took, crossing them. It's a lot of people, and there's going to be a lot of investigations, a lot of hard work looking into this. Again, like the Three of Wands is like waiting for that shift to come in overseas. I'm getting a lot of Russia references here. My Queen of Cups is often Russia, that and the Empress. The government's coming in and investigating because they have the money ties. They can see the channels of money between them, and they're going to be making a lot of changes. We're going to be heading into a new direction, leaving behind some people that are promoting Russia's agenda rather than our own country's. This is heading into a new direction. I feel like it's going to actually even play a major role in the 2024 elections of getting people out to vote and to get away from a specific party. It's going to be huge.
Yeah. So the first card I got was the Devil.
Yeah.
Obviously, this has happened. It's true. It's going on, and it's going to touch a lot of people. My next card, the World. So
yeah,
it's just
even probably just the U.S. either. We know that Russia's agenda is to dismantle democracies across the world too.
And if you think about it, these people who are now in power, these Republicans, people keep saying, oh my God, they're not governing, they're not doing it right on the committees, blah, blah, blah. If you listen closely to what the Democrats are saying, I think they're echoing what I'm about to say. They don't want to govern. They want to dismantle everything.
Yeah.
They want to just expose it for the S show that it really is and bring it all down. That is what Steve Bannon has said since 2015. That is what Roger Stone has said. And, the ones who are bold enough to just say it out loud, this is what those Republicans in power are trying to do. They're not trying to govern. It is not their purpose to govern. And so this, Russia is winning. Why do you think Putin's still alive? Because he still has that little bit of hope that, the United States is going to crumble, and he's not. I mean, I think his demise is imminent, but whatever.
Yeah.
And the Empress, this is Russia,
Yep.
like, hello, can I be your queen? Yeah, that's what they're doing. I got the King of Wands. I think this is Trump, the King of Wands.
Mm,
I think this is that very egotistical energy, and he's just like, there. But again, like you, I don't see him doing jail time. I'm very skeptical as to whether he will even still be with us when these cases really come
mm,
to trial, but many
yeah.
others will be here. And then we get the
Right,
Three of
right.
Wands, which I think, although that's a happy kind of harmonious card, the thing about it is that this shows that the agencies will work together, and they'll
Mm,
work with everything: the courts, the Congress, the multi-state DOJs, the federal DOJ, the various district courts, up and down,
mhm,
all over the United States. They will all work together in kind of a
mhm.
dance to get this all taken care of, because if you're going to change the laws and you're going to change it at the federal level, it won't do that much good if they still have all of this stuff going on at the state level. And as
Right.
we're seeing, the state level is just getting stinky. I mean, the stuff they're doing is just
Mhm.
horrible. It's just horrible. All right, that was a fun one.
When you
Okay.
pulled up that Three of Wands and you were explaining it too about all these people coming together, I was feeling like the three branches of government with the Three of Wands too,
Yep.
and them all working together to get federal legislation passed.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Yeah,
Mm,
you're right. You're absolutely right. Oh, okay. So what else? And I kind of feel like in that October time frame, I think by then I've heard just this a little tiny bit from some
mm,
newscasters. I think it will become in the zeitgeist. It'll become just a given that Trump
mm,
was supported by Russia, that they meddled in
yeah.
the election, and that they have been meddling ever since. So that's
Mm-hmm.
going on 7 years, really, because that would have been since 2015. So, okay, what else do we have here? So these are kind of old. So, do we have some stuff in the chat? Let's see. Yeah, Russia.
Mm-hmm.
Interested in this. Oh, in this, Jules Niner, I'm interested in the sex trafficking case with the DOJ when they announced they're not charging Gaetz.
Mm.
That,
You want to get that?
yeah, let's hit that. What's going on there? Is he,
I feel like it's like a delay in it. I see it coming back to the surface.
yeah.
I think a
Is that
big issue.
originating from Florida, or is
What
that
is?
the federal DOJ? Is it, are the is the did the case come from the federal, the DOJ, or was this a case that was in Florida?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, me neither. Jules Niner, do you know? Can you say, is this a actual DOJ case, or was this the Florida case? Because I heard him say when Matt Gaetz was on Ari Melber, I heard him say that the Florida case just got dismissed.
Mm.
And I'm thinking, did it really get dismissed? And then they said, oh, yeah, all the witnesses were terrible, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
Really? Really?
I feel like they're getting more credible witnesses. I keep seeing anytime I tap into Gates, like the last month or two, I see this blonde-haired young woman coming forth that I think is going to be really compelling. I feel like it's going to be reignited, and he's in trouble for other things too.
Yeah. Now his so-called wife is a blonde lady,
Oh, so
Ginger
maybe
Lux. Yeah.
so maybe something happened with their relationship, and
Oh,
she's
you
spilled
think?
the tea.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, that was a total sham. That was that
yeah.
poor girl. Well, I think they both have ultra wealthy parents. And I think
Mm.
it was kind of an arranged marriage for them, like, here, marry my son, give him some legitimacy. And I don't know what her motivations would be, because I don't know anything about her. But yeah, so let's see what's going on with Matt Gaetz.
If it's a Florida investigation that got dismissed, maybe it's like the federal level coming after him. Is what I'm
Yeah,
feeling actually.
yeah. Because, with DeSatan down there doing all his dances with changing laws and everything, locking people up for being teachers, you know. Who
Hmm.
knows? And I think that Gaetz is friendly with DeSantis.
There's a
So
connection there. I felt that very strongly, and maybe even DeSantis helping cover it up and obstruct that
yeah,
investigation. 'Cause I felt
yeah,
that was
that's what I'm
coming.
thinking. That makes the most
Hmm.
sense. So yeah, I'm with you. I got the Hangman, so this thing's coming back after a time.
Yeah,
And we got the Ten of Pentacles. There's a lot of money that's already changed hands to protect him. We got the Six of Swords. So I'm gonna say, what's 6 months from now? Well,
yeah, that could be.
about 6 months from now. We got the King of Pentacles. This is, this probably his dad, with all the money
Mm,
saying, oh, geez, okay, Maddie boy, I'll bail you out one more time. But I don't think that's really going to be, what's going on. And then the Seven of Wands.
mm,
So he's going to have to defend himself. He's going to
yep.
have to do something. And one other card kind of jumped out, and it was the Prince of Swords. So I'm going to say this is an attorney that is successful in bringing this suit. So yeah, I agree with you. It's coming back.
Just some of my cards. I had 3 cards that flew out while I was shuffling that I think is pretty telling. I
How
have the
exciting!
9 of Swords with the 7 of Wands, like you had defending, being very anxious and very worried, having to constantly defend himself from, we have the Hierophant coming in here, which is why I was saying it feels
Government.
maybe like a federal investigation. It's like they're focused on the witnesses or on these evidence and being disappointed about it, but they're getting an opportunity above them that's going to come through in the future.
Yeah,
And multiple people. I'm getting like 3 people specifically connecting and working together are going to be getting in trouble. The secrets coming out and being exposed. Um, there's the 5 of Pentacles above, so a lot of people are out in the cold, maybe without jobs. Yeah, we're getting like the whistleblower here with this Page of Swords. So that information, somebody coming forth to help. I do feel like it's going to take a little bit of time. Um, Maybe like you were saying, like around the 6 months. It's going to take a little bit of time for them to get that I think witness that they need for the case. But I think once they do, I think there's a couple people really going down, and I've often felt like DeSantis may be going down with that as well.
yeah. I think DeSantis is going to be taken out of his presidential dreams by by legal complications, by legal,
Hmm.
things that he's going to be held accountable for. And with Gaetz, his I thought it was his accomplice, his friend, the guy who is in jail now because of all of that stuff. I mean, are they saying
Greenberg,
that
is it
that was
Greenberg?
just what's that?
Is that his name Greenberg, the one that he
Yes,
was connected with?
yes,
Yeah.
Greenberg. And are they saying that that case was just made up? That was just a fantasy? Where was all
Mhm.
they had evidence to convict him, but not
Yeah.
Gates. And so I think, Greenberg is my number one candidate for whistleblower because, he's in a Michael Cohen situation. Why am I the only one who's being called on, who's serving
Mm,
time for this when there were a lot of people there? There was a lot of people taking those drugs, moving those girls across state lines, having a party. I wasn't the
yeah.
only one. So, I think it's going to be that kind of situation.
Hmm. I
Uh,
don't see Matt keeping his job, Arlene.
no, I don't either. In fact, some of these guys in Congress, I see them being taken off the floor. Although I guess that
Hmm.
goes against the speech and debate clause. So, so maybe not. Oh gosh. Oh, so that brings something to mind with Pence.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to Pence?
Mm.
Is he going to have to be forced to testify? And when he testifies, will he be forthcoming? Will he tell the truth or will he hold back?
Mm. I do see him having to testify eventually. Um, he's going to try fighting it, but I do think he'll be truthful when he comes to testify. But obviously, he's not divulging more than what he needs to.
And I don't even need
He's
to
a
draw the
coward.
cards. This
He's a
would be,
spineless
yeah,
coward.
this would be his golden opportunity to really gain some cred with the United States. If he did actually, give it up and really have those conversations and not just write another book about it in 2 years, because
There's a fear, though, I think, of him implicating himself in some things as well.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting.
That's what I was kind of picking up.
And what about his Russia connection?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't think he's going to be very happy with the outcome of this. He is going to have to testify. He's not going to be happy about it. He will even try, I think, to spin things in Trump's favor, in his favor. He's making a huge mistake. He's making a huge mistake. He really should. This would have been his chance to do something really right, really good, and he's blowing it. That's really
Yeah, I feel like there's something coming out about. It's interesting that you said Russia, because it's like that money connection, taking the money. I mean, not to say that a lot of these politicians don't. We know that they like to take money. I feel like it's always money with these people, but something coming out about money and him being heartbroken over it.
Well, maybe we should read on that. Do you think that there is a really tight Russia-Pence connection?
I mean, I think that there would have to be. I'm sure he was in on, even on the Trump campaign, being his vice president, very much aware of, that the communications and those channels with Russia.
Well, but remember, the vice president is brought in fairly late in the candidate's run. So there was a whole lot of Russia stuff that went on before Pence ever got there. And Pence may have come in even when Manafort was gone. It could have been when it was the Kelly Conway running the campaign. And Kelly Conway, her connection to Russia, I don't know. Do you think there's something there? Let's read on that.
I mean, I both to yes of them, to Kellyanne and to Mike Pence.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got to throw cards on Kellyanne.
Right. You want me to throw on Pence and you'll throw on Kellyanne?
Yeah.
All right. I'm getting a definite yes for Pence. Oh, wow. And the secret's all coming out. Maybe it has to do with this October surprise. You said October seems very significant.
Yeah.
As I was shuffling, I had the Judgment card come out with the Five of Swords. For me, I'm picturing, we have Russia up here, and Mike Pence is like the victim in it, maybe having some damaging information on Pence, and he's cooperating because of that. But like Pence is the victim here. We got somebody powerful standing above him, but there's a negative judgment coming in. I do think that he will slowly but steadily give the information that he knows. He doesn't want to.
Yeah.
And that could often actually be like the money too, the money channel. With the energies crossing him and Trump, I think, the Two of Cups, their partnership. We got the secret. What was that?
I was going to ask, so do you think that Pence damages himself to the point where he also has charges against him?
Well, he's got the Tower in his future and the Page of Swords.
Yeah.
Him having to defend himself. I don't feel jail for Pence.
No.
But I feel like, there's definitely going to be a lot of things to defend himself. And it's like everything that his career, everything that he's built comes crumbling down from the whistleblower, the information coming out. And we have the moon here too. Things have been hidden in the dark that are coming to light. It's the death of his political career above him.
Yeah.
And in the past, obviously, we have the Seven of Swords. So this is, being very sneaky in the dark, trying to hide things. So there's definitely stuff there with Pence.
I
And I think that there's a lot of information that was held over him, um, for entertainment purposes only. I think that there's some things in Mike Pence's past that he doesn't really want to come out, that go against a lot of the Republican conservative agenda things that he stands for that he doesn't want to be revealed.
yeah.
Um, so I think that there was a lot of blackmail held over him, is what I'm feeling.
Yeah, I feel like once he realizes that, there's no hope that he's going to go down if he doesn't say it. I think that pushes him into
Hmm.
opening the floodgates and just saying everything. And, you know, and then we won't be able to get him to shut up. Then he probably will write 6 books about it.
Right, right. I feel like it's the ending of his career, though.
Yeah,
Um,
sounds like it.
Ending of his reputation. And yeah, and maybe he does tell, and maybe that's why I don't feel like he's in jail because, he makes some kind of deal to stay out of
He's
jail.
going to
But
make a
with
deal.
it
That's what I
comes
was
a
thinking.
lot of bad judgment against him.
Boy. Oh, boy.
Why are you
Well,
picking up with Kellyanne?
so Kellyanne just wants to go on like everything's normal, nothing to see here. We're just the happy family. You're not looking into my past anymore because I'm not in the limelight. So
Mm,
basically she's deluded. She's completely
yeah,
deluded.
yeah.
She thinks that she's hiding away and therefore nobody can tell that the sky is blue and the grass is green. So that's her mantra these days. She is just
Mm,
like, you can't touch me because I don't know anything anymore. I got out of there before all the crap hit the fan and you can't touch me. However, there are 2 guys in her life, Prince of Cups and the King of Wands. And these guys, I think, are just not going to let sleeping dogs lie. So I think
mm,
that there are going to be things that come out. Now, you know, these could be Russians, these could be people in our government, these could be investigators, these could be FBI, they could be DOJ, who knows. But the final card is the 7 of Cups. She's completely deluded.
yeah.
This information about her is known in the world, maybe not our world for a fact, but it's not out on the news for a fact, but it is known that, like they used to say in Game of Thrones, it is known. she is she
Yeah.
is connected with all of that stuff. I don't think she would have taken the job as the campaign manager if she wasn't already connected.
Mm.
How could Trump let her be that close? How could he
Well,
trust her?
why do you think her husband's so against Trump and her too? Because he probably knows some of the channels of people that she's been connected with through his administration, and he's like, I'm not any part of this. I'm not
Yeah,
getting pulled into this.
yeah. I think that it's George, right? George
Yeah,
Conway.
George
I think
Conway.
that I think that George is just like, honey, I'm not drinking any tea, and neither should you, because
Mm,
you don't know what's going to be in that tea. I
yeah,
think he's very scared of the
hmm,
ramifications, and
absolutely.
I think Kellyanne is just like she was when she was on camera for Trump. She's just deluded.
Hmm.
She's just like got another reality going on in her head that she thinks is okay. But
Yeah,
I don't think she's okay. Now she's
yeah,
another one that I think when they start really talking to her, I think she'll see the writing on the wall and she'll start talking too.
yeah, me
I
too.
think any of these people who are actually lawyers, they're smart enough to know that when they've been caught. And when they've been
Hmm.
caught, then they'll talk. They should talk before they get caught. That would help them. But most of them
But why
probably.
do you think so many of them are? We're not seeing Kellyanne Conway on the news or anything. It's like, don't look over here. Deflect, deflect. Look over here, and then
Right,
that's all they do. They deflect.
right.
So yeah, she's definitely hanging very low. I haven't heard or seen her in the news or anybody talk about Kellyanne Conway in a while. It's been a
No,
long
but you
time.
see her husband all over the news. Her
Right?
husband's doing a lot more on the news now that
Yeah.
so I don't know, maybe she took a vacation to Moscow. Who knows? You know, who knows? Well, Kevin, it's been an hour and it's been a most enjoyable, a most pleasurable hour. I got to say, this has been great. It's been really, really fun. I think we got some nice stuff in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody who is down there. And if we didn't answer your questions, I'll go back in the chat and I'll jot them down for next time. But Kevin, thank you so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it.
Of course, I had a blast reading with you. It was a fun time, and thank you for inviting me. I really appreciate it. Maybe we can do a show again sometime.
Yeah, I'll definitely invite you back for PoliTarology. I like this time slot too. This is doing Friday nights is good for me because I can squeeze it in, but it is the
Yeah,
end of my work week, so I kind of gotta get it up for 9 o'clock. But this is a very enjoyable time slot, so we'll definitely do this again. I will invite you
sounds
again.
good.
Thank you so
All right.
much. Okay, everybody, we're going to sign off now. Thank you for joining us, and I'll go back over your chat and catch all your questions. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.